Welcome to The Explainer. All right, today we're not just going to talk about cybersecurity. Nope, we are grabbing our digital hard hats and blueprints because we are going to build a digital fortress, step by step, to protect what is absolutely your most valuable asset, your data.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Your data, all your customer info, your financials, your intellectual property, that's the treasure that powers your entire kingdom. And just like any treasure, it attracts thieves. But these aren't your average marauders. They're using code, not catapults. So we need a castle that's tough enough to keep them out.
Okay, so every great fortress starts with good materials. Let's look at what we're working with. Devices, those are your computers and servers, the actual stones. Media, like all the cables, that's the mortar holding it all together. Protocols, think of those as the architectural plans, the rules of the build. And the software is what brings the whole thing to life. These are the basics, the absolute fundamentals.
All right, the real construction starts now, and we're beginning with the most critical part of any fortress, the outer walls and the guards at the gate. This is the hardware that's going to be your first and maybe most important line of defense against all the threats lurking on the open internet.
This right here is your main perimeter wall. A firewall's whole job is to inspect every single thing trying to get in or out. It works on this really powerful principle called implicit deny. It's simple, really. If you're not explicitly on the guest list, the gate stays shut. That's it. No exceptions.
And this slide just nails the difference, because not all walls are created equal. A stateless firewall is like a guard with a terrible memory. It checks your ID against the list every single time, no matter what. But a stateful firewall? Now that's a smart guard. It remembers who's inside. It follows the whole conversation. By knowing the context, it can spot way more advanced attacks that a stateless guard would be completely blind to.
So, once you're inside the main walls, it's not just one big open space, right? You've got different buildings, different courtyards. A switch is the gatekeeper for all of those internal areas. It makes sure a message for the kitchen actually gets to the kitchen, and not the throne room. And it does all this while preventing internal traffic jams and attacks.
An IDS is your lookout. It's perched up in the tallest watchtower with a perfect view of everything coming and going. It's always scanning, always looking for suspicious behavior. But here's the catch. It's a passive lookout. It can ring that alarm bell like crazy, but it can't actually stop the threat itself.
And this is so crucial. If the IDS is the lookout, the IPS is the archer standing right beside him. It sees the exact same threats, but it's empowered to act. The second it spots a malicious packet, it doesn't just yell for help, it takes the shot. It drops the threat, severs the connection, and neutralizes the problem before it can do any damage. That's proactive defense.
So what happens when a million people all try to cram through the main gate at once? Total gridlock. That's where your load balancer shines. It's the master of logistics, expertly directing the crowds to multiple open gates, making sure no single point gets overwhelmed, so the whole system stays up and running. Now, one of the simplest ways a load balancer does this is called round robin. It sounds kind of fancy, but it's really not. It just has a list of servers, and it deals out the incoming traffic one by one. First request to server 1, second to server 2, third to server 3, and then, you guessed it, right back to the top of the list. It's a simple but really effective way to spread the work around.
All right, we've got our walls and our gatekeepers. Now it's time to look at the blueprint. A strong fortress isn't just about high walls, you know. It's about smart, strategic design. Where you put things and how you divide up the space is every bit as important as the defenses themselves.
Smart design means creating zones. Your intranet, that's the inner sanctum, the king's chambers, only for the most trusted people. The extranet is like a semi-private courtyard for your trusted partners and vendors. And then there's the famous one, the DMZ, or demilitarized zone. Think of it as a buffer, an outer market where the public can interact with you, but without ever getting past the inner gates.
And this is where it all comes together. Placement is absolutely everything. The firewall, of course, is the outer wall. The load balancer, it lives in that public-facing DMZ, managing the crowds. Your VPN concentrator, the keeper of all the secret tunnels, sits right behind the main firewall. And the SIEM? Think of it as the spy master, operating from the throne room, deep inside the most secure part of the network, safely gathering intel from every corner of the kingdom.
Okay, our fortress is built, the layout is solid, but how do our trusted people get messages in and out without being intercepted by spies on the road? We have to secure the communications themselves.
This is exactly what a VPN is for. The public internet is like a dangerous, wide-open road. A VPN builds a private, armored, and totally invisible tunnel that runs right underneath it. So when you connect to your work's VPN, you're not on that public road at all. You're taking a secret, protected digital passage straight into the fortress.
But not all tunnels are the same. A full tunnel forces everything you do online through that secure company tunnel. It's really secure for the organization, but it can slow you down. A split tunnel is different. It only sends traffic that's actually meant for the fortress through the secret tunnel. Everything else goes out your normal connection. It's way faster, but it's a classic trade-off between security and efficiency.
Lastly, you've got ports and protocols. Just think of ports as specific gates into the castle, each for a different reason. Port 80 for HTTP is like a public bulletin board where anyone can read the messages. But port 443 for HTTPS, that's the gate for messages sealed with wax, encrypted and private. And port 22 for SSH, well, that's the small hidden side door where only the admins who know the secret knock can get in.
So, we've secured the walls, the gates, the tunnels. We're in good shape. But what about threats that don't need roads? What about attacks that can just fly over the walls? Now we have to defend the very air around us by securing our wireless traffic.
The history of Wi-Fi security is pretty much a constant arms race. WEP, the first one, was like a flimsy wooden fence. It was broken, easily. WPA was better, like a stone wall, but attackers still found cracks. That brings us to WPA2, which uses some seriously strong AES encryption. This isn't just a wall, it's a powerful magic ward, and it's the modern standard you should absolutely be using.
And how you hand out the keys to your wireless network is critical. WPA2 Personal is like having one key that the entire staff shares. It's easy, but if that key gets stolen, you're in trouble. WPA2 Enterprise is way better for business. Every single person gets their own unique credentials. And WPS, the push-button connection thing, just avoid it. Seriously, it's like leaving a sign on the door that says, "The key is under the welcome mat."
So, let's wrap this up. Securing your digital fortress is never about one magic bullet. It's about defense and depth. It's about layers. You need strong outer walls with a firewall, active guards with an IPS, and a smart internal layout. You have to encrypt your messages with VPNs and secure protocols, and defend the airspace with WPA2 Enterprise. And while all that is happening, you need to be watching everything with your lookouts and your spy masters.
And this really leaves us with a crucial question to think about. The fortress we designed today is strong, for today. But the attackers are always innovating, always building bigger, better siege weapons. The battle for data is never really over, which means our fortresses have to constantly evolve to survive whatever comes next.